This video will show you how to cover a pillow form. These are the items you need. You need a pillow form. You need enough fabric folded over that covers the height of the pillow. You need enough self-made welt to go around all four sides of the pillow. You need a yardstick, 12-inch ruler, scissors, pins, thread to match the fabric, bobbin to go in the machine. This is a zipper foot you will need to put on the machine, pen, and a straight needle with enough thread for the length of the pillow. Step is to thread your sewing machine following the manual instructions. This is a Sears sewing machine. This is following the manual instructions, threading a Sears sewing machine. The bobbin is placed in. The zipper foot is put on. And tightened. I'm going to pull the bobbin thread up, and now I'm ready to sew the pillow. The next step is putting the right sides of your fabric together, folding it over in half. This fabric is 56 inches wide, so I'm folding it over to make 28 inches. The pillow is 28 inches wide, so I will cut along the edging to have two 28-inch wide. The pillow is 14 inches in height. I will start at the bottom, measure 14 inches, mark it with a black pen. Mark my lines, 14 inches, fabric together, cut, had a little excess at the top. I had gotten a half a yard of fabric for this pillow and I just need 14 inches. Cut the fabric to match at the bottom. And now I have a finished cut, two cuts, 14 inches height, 28 inches wide. The next step is I'm going to mark a ½ inch on all sides. That's going to be a basic where I'm going to sew the pillows together. A ½ inch along all edges, ½ inch, a ½ inch along the sides, mark it, a ½ inch at the bottom. That keeps my stitching line straight. ½ inch at the bottom. ½ inch along this side. ½ inch along the bottom. Now the next step is to, at each corner, I'm going to mark an 1.5 inch line. 1.5 inches here, an 1.5 inches at this corner, an 1.5 inches at this corner, diagonal, and an 1.5 inches diagonal here. Now what I'm going to do to sew my corners, I'm going to connect the 1.5 inch to the 1/2 inch using an arc. And this arch makes a nice pretty edging along the pillow. All corners connect the 1/2 inch to the 1.5 inch arch. And this makes a pretty corner on your pillow. Next step is to mark the top of the pillow with an arrow. This is the wrong side. And the bottom piece, mark an arrow for indicating the top of the fabric on the wrong side. Always mark on the wrong side. The next step is to sew the pillow. We're taking the top piece of fabric and we're going to turn it over, having the right side facing you. And the bottom piece of the fabric set aside for later. So you have the top piece of the fabric with your markings facing on the outside, and you have the right side of the fabric facing you. You're going to take your self-made welt. You're going to unravel about 1 inch. Starting at the lower right-hand corner, you're going to turn your fabric over to see where your nice curved line is. You're going to place the welt along that bottom curve. And you're going to sew, flipping the fabric over to see where your line is. You're going to sew the bottom. You can flip the fabric over to see that you're sewing along that bottom line. Once you get going on your machine, has a 1/2 inch indicator on your machine, you can sew it from there. Sew it using the zipper foot. Sew it close to the edging. Using the 1/2 inch indicator on your sewing machine. You're going to just thread it along. Your left hand goes up above and your right hand goes below the stitching to help guide the stitching. You're going to sew the full length of the pillow. You're going to stop when you get to that next arch. You will stop. Okay, and you're going to take it out of the machine and cut the thread. Next step is to sew the top piece of fabric to the bottom. You're going to take the other piece of fabric. You need to find your arrow, your top arrow. You're going to have the insides together, the right sides together. The wrong sides are on the outside. You have your 2 arrows. And you're going to use your pins, and you're going to halfway mark. You're just going to line up the edges of your pillow. You just need a pin. You're going to line up your edges on the 3 sides, the 3 remaining sides. Line up your edges with a pin to help keep things straight. Now you're going to go back to the corner where you stopped. You're going to line up your edges. You're going to put both. You have your top fabric, your welt, and your bottom piece. You're going to put that in the machine, but right before where you ended off. You're going to put your lever down, start it by hand, and now you're going to clip a little edging for it to go around that nice arch. You're going to flip it over to the bottom, line up the edge of the welt with your nice little arch that you made. Now you'll put the top piece over, and you're going to start sewing, feeling where the welt is. You can feel where you need to sew. And at times you can see where your 1/2 inch line is marked, so you can match it. Continue around, and you can see where the pin is. You're going to sew. There's some times where you need to pull the top piece of material to keep it even. And I've come to the first pin, and everything is even, so I'll take this pin out. And now, according to the 1/2 inch marker on the machine, you don't have to keep turning over. It'll line up on the machine. As I'm nearing the corner, I'm going to clip to go around the edges. I'm going to put this down a nice arch. I'm going to turn it to see where my 1.5 inch arch is, and I'm going to put the top piece over, and I'm going to feel where that edging is to sew. I'm going to use my forefinger and thumb to help it along the corner. Now I'm going to continue sewing a 1/2 inch seam allowance with my left hand in front and my right hand below the needle. I'm coming to my pin, and I have a little excess fabric at the top, so I'm going to pull the fabric with my left hand. Continue sewing. Pillows come in all sizes, and I normally get, if the pillow form is 14 inches, then that's the amount of fabric you get. If the fabric is a print, you will need to get more fabric to line up the picture on the print. Normally I get about 1/2 yard more fabric than the size of the pillow if I have a picture on it. Clip it around the corners, matching my 1.5 inch. Going around the corner. Now, the last corner I come to, I'm going to cut an excess of about 1 inch welt to bring it down. The last corner I'm sewing, the raveled fabric is on the bottom, and you're going to bring it up and over. And so I'm going to sew it right along this edging and then pick it up right here. So I will sew over some of the roping. Part of the roping you sew over, you want to take it slow. I am now sewing over the roping. Sew it about 1 inch. You're going to stop it, and now you're going to backtrack. And then you're going to cut, take it off and cut it. Now I'm going to trim around the corners. Trim and clip it twice to help the corners lay nice. You're going to trim 2 clips. I'm going to trim 2 clips. And 1 more. I'm going to trim and 2 clips. Now I'm going to turn the pillow right side. Nice little corner edging now. Lay the pillow out. Flatten it. Sometimes I even iron these flat, but this is a velvet or a velour and I don't want to iron that. Sometimes you can iron your welt flat. Now put the pillow edging in. I myself cut out the instructions. Put your pillow inside the casing, like so. And then the corners match. Make sure the corners match. This corner matches. That corner matches. Now, you're going to take your pins. You're going to turn the front piece over 1/2 inch, and you're going to pin it. Turning over the 1/2 inch, you're going to pin it along the welt that you want to see. Sometimes I start at each end, about 1/2 inch. So when I get to the middle, I've pulled enough on each side. You're going to pin that shut. 1/2 inch to the top of the welt. Pin it shut. 1/2 inch to the top of the welt. Pin it shut. And then have a 1/2 inch to the top of the welt. I'm going to pin that shut. And now put a couple more pins in. So I'm going to use a needle and thread. I'm going to slip stitch this shut. Okay, and to finish it, I'm taking my needle and thread. I have threaded through a needle, and I'm starting going to put it through, coming toward me through the 1/2 inch, pull it through, and I'm going to catch part of the welt, bottom of the welt, and you're going to bring it through. You bring it through towards you. As you come to a pin, you can take the pin out, and you're going to thread this all along the bottom. And you want small little, about an 1/8 inch stitches. You're going to just catch part of that welt, and you're going to bring it through. Come to a pin, take the pin out. If you do not cut enough thread, you can always tie it off and start another section. It's nice to get thread that matches the fabric so you don't see your seams. Make sure your fabric stays over about a 1/2 inch. we were picking this thread out, we couldn't match exactly, and a rule of thumb is to always get thread that's a little bit lighter than your fabric, more so than darker. I'm sewing about a 1/2 inch seams, and a 1/2 inch apart from each other, and you want to do it closer, but this is just for video purposes. Almost done. One more pin. And when you get toward the end, you're going to bring it around and bring the needle in between the two pieces of thread. Pull it up, tie it, cut it off. You want to put a couple knots in it. Another knot. Cut that off. And there you have a nice knife-edged pillow.